Shalom, shalom, mishpaka. Shalom to the older brother, Yehuda. Shalom to the younger brother, Ephraim. Shalom to the stranger, the ger, the companion, the goyim, the goy, who has come out of the nations, who has come out from amongst pigs, who has come out from amongst dogs, and even on this Yom has engrafted into the Bayif of Yasharal, whereby now you are no longer a ger, you are no longer a goy or a goyim or nations or a stranger, but indeed you are a fellow citizen of Yasharal. You who were once far off have now been brought near by the shedding of the blood of Hamashiach. You who once were a wild olive tree have now been enjoined with the natural olive tree, whereby there can be no distinction made between the wild olive tree and the natural olive tree. It is in fact now one olive tree. Shalom to you, stranger, who has come out from paganism, who has thrown down your idols, who has forsaken the lies of your fathers, and has come out from the filth, has come out from amongst the mire, has come out from amongst the lies, and have engrafted yourself into the Bayif, the house of Yasharal, the Yahi, the only begotten son of Yahuwah, who the covenants and the promise and the inheritance was given to alone, and whereby now, because you have engrafted into the Bayif of Yasharal, the Yahi of Yahuwah, you too are now privy to the same covenants, the same promise, and the same inheritance that were given to Yasharal and to Yasharal alone. Shalom, shalom to you worldwide on this Yom, both to the older brother Yehuda, to the younger brother Ephraim, to the stranger who has enjoined himself to us. Shalom, shalom to the whole Bayif of Yasharal, all 12 tribes, worldwide on this Yom. Worldwide on this Yom. Shalom, Mishpaka. Shalom, Mishpaka. Manishma. Manishma, my Mishpaka. How are you doing on this Yom? I pray that you have been kept thus far during this season of the witch. I pray that as Nabuah has spoken in the word of Yahuwah, no spell has any power over Yasharal. No incantation has any power over the house of Yasharal. How can one curse what Yahuwah has, Baruch? So I pray that in this season of the witch, as these spells and incantations are being spoken and sent forth over the Yarets, that even now both you and your Mishpaka are being kept because you are indeed under the protection of Abinu, because you have been pulled underneath his garment and brought near his bosom, whereby no spell has dominion over you. No ruachot has dominion over you. No curse has dominion over you. So I pray that Yahuwah, even now in this season of the witch, is even keeping you, and that you have endured thus far, and that you have even endured thus far. Mishpaka, I want to speak to you for just a little bit on this Yom about something else that Yahuwah has deposited into my nefesh. Something else that he has deposited into my nefesh. Indeed, in fact, it is a message. It is a message to all of us. It is a message to the whole Bayif of Yasharal, of which he has deposited into my nefesh, into the nefesh of this hunk of dirt, to use as a earthen vessel, so that he may speak a message through this hunk of dirt to the Bayif of Yasharal. It is a very important message in this Moed season that he wants to speak to us, Yasharal, that he wants to speak to us, Zion. It is a very, very important message that we all need to take heed to and that we all need to receive. But he wants to speak to us on this Yom with respect to the way, with respect to the truth, and with respect to the life. What does it mean, Zion? What does it mean what did our Hamashiach mean when he uttered the words that I am the way, I am the truth, and I am the life? What does it mean? Now, from a Christian theological perspective, and I'm not talking to Christians on this Yom, I'm talking to Zion. If there are any Christians listening to this video, Halal Yahuwah, I pray that even now that your eyes are open and that your ears are open and that your heart is tilled to receive the engrafted truth. But this message is to Zion. This message is to Zion. But from a Christian theological or theologian perspective, when Yahusha uttered the words, I'm the way, I'm the truth, I'm the life, in their limited understanding, they believe that they are delivered, not that they are being delivered, as we truly are being delivered. None of us are delivered yet. None of us will be delivered until the last shofar sounds and the dead in Hamashiach rise first. And those of us who are alive and remain will be caught up with him. And there in our land, we will dwell and reign and rule with him, Olam, forever, throughout eternity. And when we are caught up with him, at that point, he will sprinkle clean water upon us and give us hearts of flesh and remove the Baalims from our lips. But not until that point, when he delivers us, will we in fact be delivered. So right now we are being delivered. And if you in fact have the Ruach HaKodesh, then he is giving us a down payment. He has given us a down payment to that deliverance. He has given us a sign that we are indeed sealed, that we are indeed set apart to be delivered. However, indeed, we are being delivered. We are not yet delivered. But from a Christian theologian perspective, when Yahusha uttered the words, I'm the way, I'm the truth, I'm the life, through their limited understanding, they believe that through belief only in Hamashiach, although they don't have complete understanding of that, and we may or may not, the Ruach HaKodesh may or may not delve into that on this Yom. He has spoken to me to prepare another video, that he wants to prepare another video through me with respect to that, with respect to the Hamashiach. But he may or may not allow me to delve into that with any depth on this Yom in this video, because this video is about something else entirely. But they have this false belief that they are saved, that they are delivered by belief only in HaMashiach, even though they don't have complete understanding as to what that means. As to what that means. What does it mean, Zion? What does it mean? What does those words mean when HaMashiach uttered those words? I am the way. I am the truth. I am the life. Zion, we're going to allow the Ruach HaKodesh to open up our Binah with respect to this truth on this Yom, with respect to these words uttered by the HaMashiach. And we're going to allow the Ruach HaKodesh by the mouth of 2 or more witnesses to establish this truth, to open up our Binah, to give us understanding with respect to what Yahushua meant when he uttered those words, and why gaining an understanding of these words is paramount, is imperative, is of utter importance in this Moed season, in this appointed time. So what is the way? What is the way? We're going to break this down. He first begins proclaiming that I am, Ahayah, Asher, Ahayah, I am, I was, I will be. Ahayah, Asher, Ahayah. Here he begins proclaiming that I am, that he is Yahuwah, that he is Yahuwah. And so if he is Yahuwah, how can he also be the Son? Again, we're not going to dwell into that in this video. He has put into my nefesh to make another video to address that, but we're not going to talk about that in this video. But he proclaims here that I am Ahayah, Asher, Ahayah. I am, I was, I will be. He's making the declaration that he is Yahuwah, that he is Yahuwah. So he begins by saying, I am the way, the way. What is the way? What is the way? Let's begin examining the way, looking at Yahuchanan, the 14th chapter, verse 1 through 6, and we'll read his words. This will be our first witness. Yahuchanan, or John, the 14th chapter, verse 1 through 6, beginning at verse 1, it reads, let not your heart be troubled. Believe in Elohim. Believe also in me. In my Father's house are many staying places. Some translations may say mansions. And if not, I would have told you. I go to prepare a place for you. And if I go and prepare a place for you, listen, Zion, because here is another place wherein this is not the premise of this video, but I have to point it out because this is another place that has, in scripture, in the words of HaMashiach, that has generated a false theology, a false rapture theology. A false rapture theology. Nevertheless, it reads here, and if not, I would have told you, I go to prepare a place for you. And if I go and prepare a place for you, I shall come again and receive you to myself. Not only has this generated a false rapture theology, but this has generated a false theology because of ignorance, that when we die, and because of paganism, because again, pagans believe in Elysian fields. They believe in what is called heaven. The Shamayim is not called heaven. Heaven is a pagan word. It is reminiscent of Elysian fields, and the belief in an Elysian fields by pagans is that when they die, they go to Elysian fields to live with their mighty ones. To live with their mighty ones. And this is fake, false, pagan Christian theology, that we go to heaven. We don't go to heaven, Zion. This video is not about that. This video is not about that. But Yahuwah created the Eretz for man and the Shamayim for the host of Shamayim, not for man. Not for man. The new Yerushalayim is coming down. Yahuwah is going to make his abode amongst men on the Eretz, not in the Shamayim. And so reading this very carefully, it says, and if I go and prepare a place for you, I shall come again and receive you to myself, and where I am, you might be too. You might be too. So nowhere in here does it say when you die, your spirit, your ruach, goes to heaven. It says here, he is going to prepare a place. He's going to prepare the new Yerushalayim. He's going to prepare the renewed Yerushalayim, which is coming down. And he goes on to say that, and if I prepare a place for you, I shall come again and receive you to myself. Not that when you die, you automatically go to heaven, to the Elysian fields, but I shall come and receive you to myself. When is he going to receive us to himself? In the first resurrection. In the first resurrection, when the dead in Mashiach shall rise, and those of us who are alive and remain will be caught up with him. And there in our land will we be with him, and where we will reign and rule with him, olam, throughout eternity. You don't die and go to heaven. But this video is not about that, but I needed to address that. That needed to be addressed. Because, again, if you don't have a foundation in Torah, all sorts of wicked, perverse translations and interpretations are going to be created, which Kafah declares that, people distort, and he was specifically talking about the writings of Shaul, but that people distort to their own destruction because they are unlearned and untaught in the Torah. So they distort it and mix it up due to their own ignorance and due to their own unlearned nature in Torah, and they do this to their own destruction. Nevertheless, it reads, and if I go and prepare a place for you, I shall come again and receive you to myself, that where I am, you might be too. And where I go, you know, and the way you know, and the way you know. Now, he's talking to his taught ones. He's talking to his Talmudim. He's talking to his Talmudim, and he says here, you already know the way. How did they already know the way, Zion? If they didn't quite understand who he is or who he was, how did then they already know the way? How did they already know the way? Scripture is going to clear that up for us on this Yom Zion. By the mouth of two or more witnesses, Scripture is going to clear that up via the Ruach HaKodesh, how they already knew the way. And it reads here, and where I go, you know, and the way you know. Thomas said to him, Master, we do not know where you are going, and how are we able to know the way? Yahusha said to him, I am Ahayah, Asher, Ahayah. I am Ahayah, Asher, Ahayah. I am, I was, I will be. He's declaring again, I am Yahuwah. I am the way. And the Greek word here is the Greek 3598 in the Strongs, and it is the word hados. Hados, and it means a road. By implication, a progress, the route, act, or distance. So it is a road. It is a way. It is a road. By implication, a progress or a route or act or distance. So he says here, I am the way and the truth. The truth here is the Greek 225, Greek Strong's 225, and it is the Greek word aletheia. Aletheia, which means truly, in truth, according to truth. And the life, and this is the Greek, Strong's Greek 222, and it is the Greek zo, and it means life, figuratively, or literally. It means life. No one comes to the Father except through me. So he makes the declaration here that that first of all, he says, I am. Ahayah, Asher, Ahayah. He is Elohim. He is Elohim. And he is the way. He is the road, the path. He is the road, the path to the Father. He is the truth, which simply means truth. The Greek word aletheia, which simply means truth, figuratively or literally. And the life, the chai, the Greek word zo, life, figuratively or literally. He goes on to say, no one comes to the Father except through me. Except through me. Now, many have taken this passage and left it right there and not gone any further, not gone into any other detail and any other depth to break this down as to what our Hamashiach was saying. And this is that belief-only theology, that all we have to do is to believe in the Hamashiach, and that we don't have to obey the commands of Yah, that he put an end to the commands of Yah, that all we have to do is believe in him. See, it says it right here, that he is the way, the truth, and the life, that no man comes to the Father but by him. And they'll leave it at that. They'll leave it at that. But we're going to dig a little deeper, Zion, on this Yom. We're going to dig a little deeper on this Yom. So he proclaims that he is the way. What is the way? What is the way? Again, to determine the way, to understand the way, to understand, to gain an understand of the text, and to understand the words that Hamashiach spoke, we have to go back to the foundation from which he spoke. From which he spoke. Every single word from which he spoke was based on the foundation that was established in Torah. And so in order to understand the words of the Hamashiach, we must return to the foundation. We must return to the foundation. So with that said, what is the way? In accordance with Proverbs of Mashal, the 6th chapter, the 23rd verse, it reads, for the command is a lamp, and the Torah a light, and reproofs of discipline, a way of life. A way of life. Tahalim of Psalms 119:1 reads, Baruch are the perfect in the way, who walk in the Torah of Yahuwah. Who walk in the Torah of Yahuwah. So here we have established that the way is Torah. That the way is Torah. It is Torah. And we're going to read more scriptures to establish this truth, but it has already been established in Mashal of Proverbs 6:23 that Torah is the way. And in Tahalim 119:1 that Torah is the way. Baruch are the perfect in the way, who walk in the Torah of Yahuwah. Torah is the way. Torah is the way. What is the truth? What then is the truth? He also declares that he is the truth. In Tahalim, Psalms 119:142, it reads, your righteousness, your Zedekah is Zedekah Olam, forever, and your Torah is truth. And your Torah is truth. Tahalim, Psalms 119:151, you are near, O Yahuwah, and all your commands, mitzvah, are truth, are truth. Tahalim, Psalms 119:160, the psalm of your word is truth, and all your righteous right rulings are forever. Olam, olam, olam. So again, it is the word has established that Torah is the truth. Torah is the way. Torah is the truth. Torah is the truth. And Yahuchanan, or John, the 17th chapter, the 17th verse, it reads, and these are the words of HaMashiach. It reads, set them apart in your truth. And truth here is Strong's Greek 225, and it is aletheia. Aletheia. And this is the same word here that is used in John 14 when he says, I am the way, the truth. The word in John 14:6 for truth is Greek 225, aletheia, aletheia. And so here, he says here, set them apart in your truth, aletheia. And then he goes on to say, your word. And this is Strong Greek 3056, and it is the word, the Greek word logos. Logos. And it carries the same meaning as the Hebrew word dabar. Dabar. But here it means a word uttered by a living voice. What someone has said, the sayings of YAHUAH'S. The sayings of YAHUAH'S. So it reads, set them apart in your truth, aletheia, the same Greek word that is used above in John 14:6, with respect to truth when he says, I am the truth. He says, set them apart in your truth. Your word, which is, again, logos, the sayings of YAHUAH'S, the voice of YAHUAH'S, whatever he utters, man shall not live by bread alone, but by every dabar, every word that proceeds from the mouth of Yahuwah. Your word is truth. Your word is truth. And the same Greek word here is used. Aletheia, the Greek Strong's 225, aletheia. So, above in John, YAHUAH'S 14:6, he says, I am the way. And he says, I am the truth. And we've established what the way is. The way is Torah. And we've established what the truth is. The truth is Torah. And the word that he used for truth is the same word here in John 17:17. Set them apart in your truth. Your word is truth. Aletheia, aletheia, aletheia. In Tehillim, or Psalms 119:105, it reads, your word is a lamp to my feet and a light to my path. Your word is a lamp to my feet and a light to my path. So we've established, the scripture has established that the way is Torah and the truth is Torah. And Yahushua declares here that set them apart in your truth. Thy word is truth. So by implication, we understand that the word is Torah. That the word is Torah. As Dawood proclaims here in Tehillim 119:105, your word is a lamp unto my feet and a light unto my path. Where have we heard lamp and light before? In Proverbs 6:23. In Proverbs 6:23, when it declares, for the command is a lamp and the Torah a light, and reproofs of discipline a way of life. So the word is Torah. We're going to further establish that. The word of Yah is going to further establish this truth. But we're laying the groundwork now that the word is Torah. The word is Torah. And by the way, if there are any Christians listening to this video, when sovereign Dawood uttered these words, your word is a lamp to my feet and a light to my path, that there was no Brif Kadashah, of what you call the New Testament. When Yahushua said to set them apart in your word is truth. There was no Brif Kadashah. There were no letters. There was not the Besorah written down yet. So when he made this proclamation, he was proclaiming, making the proclamation to Yah to set us apart in his Torah, set us apart in his truth. His word is truth. His word is Torah. His word is Torah. We'll establish this here in another witness in Dabarim, the 17th chapter, and we'll read verse 14 through 20. so that you gain an understanding, so that you gain a context with respect to what was Dawood talking about when he declared, your word is a lamp to my feet and a light to my path, and a light to my path, if it hasn't been established already. But beginning at verse 14 in Dabarim, of Deuteronomy, the 17th chapter, it reads, when you come to the land which Yahuwah your Elohim is giving you, and shall possess it, and shall dwell in it, and you shall say, let me set a sovereign over me, like all the nations that are around me. You shall certainly set a sovereign over you, whom Yahuwah your Elohim shall choose. Set a sovereign over you from among your brethren. You are not allowed to set a foreigner over you, who is not your brother. There's so much meat in this, but I can't address it in this video. Only he is not to increase horses for himself, nor cause the people to return to Mitzrayim to increase horses. For Yahuwah has said to you, do not return that way again. And he is not to increase wives for himself, lest his heart turn away. Nor is he to greatly increase silver and gold for himself. And it shall be, when he sits on the throne of his reign, and that he shall write, listen, and that he shall write for himself a copy of this Torah in a book, from the one before the Kohanim, the Luim. And it shall be with him, and he shall read it all the days of his life, so that he learns to fear Yahuwah his Elohim, and guard all the words of this Torah and these laws, to do them, so that his heart is not lifted up above his brothers, and so as not to turn aside from the command, right or left, so that he prolongs his days in his reign, he and his children, in the midst of Yasharal. The word is Torah. When Dawood was proclaiming that your word is a lamp unto my feet and a light unto my path, he was speaking about Torah, the same book, the same sefer that he had to write for himself from the copy that was in the possession of the Luim, that he had to personally write for himself and meditate on it day and night, all the days of his life, so that he neither turn to the right or to the left, from the command being to guard Torah, and not to turn to the right or to the left from it. He was speaking about Torah. He was speaking about Torah. Torah is a light. Torah is a lamp. Torah is the word. Torah is the word. Torah is truth. Torah is truth. So Yahusha in Yahuchanan 14 declares that I am the way. He is Torah. The way is Torah. Scripture has established that the way is Torah. He says, I am the truth. The truth we've established is Torah. It is Torah. We'll get to the life here in a minute. We'll get to the life. But he makes the declaration that I am the way and I am the truth. And we have discovered by the precept of Scripture that the word is Torah, that the word is truth, that the word is the way. It is the way. It lights our path. It lights our path and shows us the way. In this world full of darkness and filth, it lights our path and shows us the way. The word is Torah. The word is truth. The word is the way. Now, where have we heard this before? Where have we heard this before? Again, Yahusha makes the declaration, I am the way, I'm the truth. And we've discovered that that is the word, that is Torah. That is Torah. In the very first chapter of Yahuchanan, or John, the very first chapter, verse 1 through 14, it reads, in the beginning was the word, was Torah, and the word was with Elohim, and the word Torah was Elohim. It was Elohim, because the word is light, and Yahuwah is light. He dwells in unapproachable light. Yahukanan and Yahukanan Allah of 1 John declares that Yahuwah, that Elohim is light, and in him is no darkness at all. If any man claims fellowship with him and walks in darkness and our sin and our unrighteousness, he lies and does not live by the truth. So the word is light. The word is Torah. Yahuwah is the word. Yahuwah is light. As Yahusha identifies himself as I am, Ahaya, Asher, Ahaya. I am, I was, I will be. But it reads here, beginning at verse 1, in the beginning was the word, Torah. And the word was with Elohim, and the word was Elohim. He was in the beginning with Elohim. All came to be through him, and without him not even one came to be that came to be. In him, listen, was life, was high. And we're still going to get to the life part. We haven't discussed life yet, but we're still going to get to that. But in him was high, was life, and that high was the light of men. Your word is a light into my path, and is a lamp into my path, and a light is a lamp unto my feet, and a light into my path. Torah is light. Yahuwah is light. He is light, as proclaimed by Yahukanan Allah of 1 John in the very first chapter. He is light. Nevertheless, in him was high, and the life was the light of men. Torah was the light of men, and the light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it. Sin has not overcome it. There was a man sent from Elohim, whose name was Yahukanan. This one came for a witness, to bear witness of the light, to bear witness of the living Torah, that all might believe through him. He was not that light, but that he might bear witness of that light. He was the true light, the living Torah, which enlightens every man coming into the world. He was in the world, and the world came to be through him, and the world did not know him. He came to his own, and his own did not receive him. But as many as received him, to them he gave the authority to become children of Elohim, to those believing in his name, Yahusha, meaning Yahuwah is deliverance, who were born not of blood, nor of the desire of flesh, nor of the desire of man, but of Elohim. And listen, and the word Torah, we have already established that this is logos, that this is the very voice of Elohim. This is Dabar. This is truth. This is light. This is the way. This is Torah. And the word became flesh. The living Torah, the Torah became flesh and pitched his tent, skinu. This is the Greek word skinu, which means tent or tabernacle or abode. He pitched his tent. He tabernacled amongst men. Thus he was born on the first day of Sukkot, or the Feast of Tabernacle, and was circumcised on the 8th day of Sukkot, the last great day, Simcha Torah, and not on Christmas, which is the birthday of Nimrod. Nevertheless, this is not about that. But the word became flesh and pitched his tent. He made his abode. He tabernacled amongst us, and we saw his esteem as of an only brought forth of a father, complete in favor and truth. So the Torah became flesh. The Torah became flesh. The word of Yahuwah, the Torah, the instructions of Yah, became flesh. Thus, he is the way, Torah. He is the truth, Torah. He is the way, he is the truth, both being Torah, both being Torah. So what is the life? What is the life? What is the life? In Uikra, Leviticus, the 18th chapter, verse 1 through 5, beginning at verse 1, it reads, And Yahuwah spoke to Moshe, saying, Speak to the children of Yasharal and say to them, I am Yahuwah your Elohim. Do not do as they do in the land of Mitzrayim, where you dwelt, and do not do as they do in the land of Canaan, where I am bringing you. And do not walk in their laws, in their chok, and their statutes. Do my mishpatim, my right rulings, and guard my chok, my laws, my statutes, to walk in them. I am Yahuwah your Elohim, and you shall guard my statutes and my mishpatim, my right rulings. Listen, which a man does and lives by them, and lives by them. I am Yahuwah. I am Yahuwah. Dabarim, Deuteronomy, chapter 30, verse 1 through 10. And it shall be, when all these words come upon you, the barakah and the curse which I have set before you, and you shall bring them back to your heart among the nations where Yahuwah your Elohim drives you, and shall turn back to Yahuwah your Elohim and obey his voice. And obey his voice. The Greek calls it the logos. The Greek calls it the logos, but this is the dabar. The dabar, the breathed word of Yah. The breathed, inspired word of Yah, his Torah, his instructions, his light, his very essence, his very being. Hence, it is alive because it is him. Torah is Yah. It is Yah. It is as much of Yah as his Ruach is. It is Yah. It is the very breathed word, inspired word of Yah. It is living. It is alive. It is indeed. And in fact, Yah. Thus it reads, and shall turn back to Yahuwah, your Elohim, and obey his voice. According to all that I command you today, with all your heart and with all your being, with all your nafash, you and your children, then your Elohim shall turn back your captivity. Listen to that, Zion. Listen to that. When we turn and obey his voice according to all that he has commanded us on that day, on the day when he spoke through the mouth of Moshe, with all of our heart and with all of our nafash, both us and our children, then our Elohim shall turn back our captivity and have compassion on us. And he shall turn back and gather us from all the peoples where Yahuwah, your Elohim, has scattered us. Only when we turn back to Torah in Ruach and in truth will he come to gather his children from the four corners of the earth. It goes on to read, if any of you are driven out to the farthest parts under the Shamayim, from there Yahuwah your Elohim does gather you, and from there he does take you. And Yahuwah your Elohim shall bring you to the land which your fathers possessed, and you shall possess it. And you shall do good, and he shall do good to you, and increase you more than your fathers. And Yahuwah your Elohim shall circumcise your heart, and the heart of your seed, to love Yahuwah your Elohim with all your heart and with all your being, so that you might live. And Yahuwah your Elohim shall put all these curses on your enemies and on those who hate you. who persecute you. And you shall turn back and obey the voice of Yahuwah, and to do all his commands, which I command you today. If you're a Christian listening to this video, this is a future Nabuah. This has not happened yet. It has not happened yet. And in this Nabuah, what you call prophecy, Yahuwah is making the declaration that when his people, when his children, Yasharal, not Christians, not Buddhists, not Hindus, not Taoists, not agnostics, not Gnostics, when his people, not Baptists, not Methodists, not Church of God in Christ, not Catholics or Protestants or Seventh-day Adventists or Church of Christ or Holiness or whatever it may be, not you, not them, but when his people humble themselves and turn back to his Torah in Ruach and in truth, at that point, he will come and gather his people. He will gather his people. If you're a Christian and listening to this video, you have no doubt been deceived into thinking that the synagogue of Shaitan, that those who say they are Jews who are not, are actually Yahuwah's people, are actually Yahuwah's people. Yahuwah's people are still scattered to the four corners of the Eretz, and this Nabuah has not occurred. It has not occurred. Nevertheless, it reads, and Yahuwah your Elohim shall make you have excess in all the work of your hand, and the fruit of your body, and in the fruit of your livestock, and in the fruit of your ground for good. For Yahuwah turns back to rejoice, to simcha over you for good, as he simcha over your fathers. Listen, if you obey the voice of Yahuwah, if you obey, which is translated in the Brif Kadashah as logos. If you obey the voice, the Dabar, the living word, the Torah of your Elohim, to guard his commands, to guard his commands and his statutes, which are written in this book of the Torah. If you turn back to Yahuwah, your Elohim, with all your heart and with all your being. Verse 11. For this command which I am commanding you today, it is not too hard for you, nor is it far off. It is not in the Shamayim to say, who shall ascend into the Shamayim for us, and bring it to us, and cause us to hear it, so that we do it. Nor is it beyond the sea to say, who shall go over the sea for us, and bring it to us, and cause us to hear it, so that we do it. For the word, the Torah, the Bar, the word is very near to you, in your mouth and in your heart, to do it. How, Zion? Because it has been written upon our hearts via the Ruach HaKodesh. It has been written upon our hearts, provided that you have the Ruach HaKodesh, provided that you have been immersed in the Ruach HaKodesh. It has been written upon our hearts. For the word is very near you, in your mouth and in your heart, to do it. See, I have set before you today. Listen. See, I have set before you today high, life, and good, and death, and evil. And that I am commanding you today to love Yahuwah, your Elohim, to walk in his ways, and to guard his commands, and his statutes, hog, laws, and his mishpatim, right rulings. Listen, and you shall live and increase. And Yahuwah, your Elohim, shall barak you and the land which you go to possess. But if your heart turns away and you do not obey, and shall be drawn away, and shall bow down to other mighty ones and serve them, I have declared to you today that you shall certainly perish. You shall not prolong your days in the land which you are passing over the Yarden to enter and possess. If you obey, you will live. This is your life. This is life for you. If you obey my Torah, you will live. If you disobey, you will die. You will die, period. I have called the Shamayim and the Arets as witnesses today against you. I have set before you, hear me, Chai, life and death, the Barakah and the curse. Therefore you shall choose life, Chai, so that you live, both you and your seed, to love Yahuwah your Elohim, to obey his voice, and to cling to him, for he is your Chai. He is your Chai. He is Torah. He is light. He is the word. He is life. He is life, for he is your life and the length of your days, to dwell in the land which Yahuwah swore to your fathers, to Abraham, to Yishak, and to Yaakov, to give them. Another witness. Still giving you witnesses. Another witness. Dabarim, Deuteronomy, the 32nd chapter, 45 through 47. Some are still stiff-necked. Some need to hear 2 or more witnesses before they get it, because some are more stiff-necked than others. So for you, if you're listening to this video and you're one of those who are still stiff-necked, here are more witnesses. Dabarim, the 32nd chapter of Deuteronomy, verse 45 through 47. Beginning at verse 45, it reads, And when Musha ended speaking all these words to Yasharal, he said to them, Set your heart on all the words, the Dabarim, which I warn you today, so that you command your children to guard to do all the words of this Torah. For it is not a worthless dabar word for you, because it is your Chai, your life. And by this word, you prolong your days on the soil which you pass over the Yarden to possess. I am the way, the truth, and the life. And as proclaimed in YAHUAH'S, the 1st chapter, he is the word made flesh. He is the living Torah. He is the living Torah. He is the living Torah. He is the way, the truth, and the life. And Yirmiyahu, another witness for you stiff-necked folk. Yirmiyahu, Jeremiah, the 6th chapter, verse 16 through 19, it reads, Thus said Yahuwah, stand in the ways. The Hebrew word here is derech, and it means a road, as trodden, figuratively, a course of life or mode of action, Thus saith Yahuwah, stand in the ways and see, and ask for the old. The Hebrew word here is olam. The root to the word olam, by the way, means eternity, means forever. The root to this word is alam, and it means to conceal, hide, be hidden, be concealed, be secret, properly concealed. That is the vanishing point, generally time out of mind, past or future. That is practically eternity. So it reads here, Thus says Yahuwah, stand in the ways, the course of life, and see and ask for the old, the ancient, the olam, the ancient past, the paths of eternity, the concealed past. They are so old that they are concealed, that you can't see them, because they extend into eternity. They extend into eternity, into eternity. Look for those paths. Look for those paths that were established long ago, that were established in the very beginning, not in the Bref Kadashah, but that were established in the very beginning. Look for those paths. And the word for paths here is nahid, which means a beaten track, a path, where the good way is, and walk in it, and walk in it. Thy word is a lamp unto my feet, and a light unto my path, and walk in it, and find rest for yourselves, and find rest for yourselves. But they said, we do not walk in it. And I raised up watchmen over you, and said, listen to a voice of a shofar. But they said, we do not listen. Therefore hear, you nations, and know, O assembly, O hahal, what is upon them. Hear, O Eretz. See, I am bringing. Here it says, hear, O earth, the whole earth. Hear, O Eretz. See, I am bringing evil upon this people, even the fruit of their thoughts. Because why? They have not listened to my words, my dabarim, nor my Torah, and they rejected it. And they rejected it. So he says, thus says Yahuwah, stand in the ways, the road that has been established from ancient of times, from eternity, the way that has been established from the very beginning, the way that was established in the beginning, the Torah, the light, because Yah is light. Torah existed in the very beginning because Yah is Torah. Yah is the light. Yah is the truth. He is the way. He is the life. And this existed in the very beginning. And then he began to speak himself to his Kodashim, to speak his essence into them, to show them how to be set apart as he is set apart, to establish a way for them, to establish a way that was set apart, that was established throughout eternity, that was established in the beginning. He breathed his essence. He spoke his instructions to teach Abraham, to teach Adam, to teach Hanoch, to teach Nuach, to teach Shem, to teach Eba, to teach Abraham and Yishak and Jacob and Musha and Yasharal, to teach us his ways, to breathe his essence into us, to show us what it means and what it looks like, how we are to set ourselves apart as he is set apart, so that by doing this, we will be like him. And by doing this, that this will lead us back to him. That this will lead us to him. As our Father does, we do. As our Father does, we do. Look for the ancient paths that were established in the very beginning. Torah was established in the very beginning. Look how your fathers walked. Look how Abraham and Yishak and Jacob and Musha and Dawood and Hanoch and Nuach and Adam and Sheth and Henan and Mahalalel and Mathushalach. Look how they walked. Look how they set themselves apart to the Most High Yah. Look how they walked in the way. Look how they walk, and walk in a similar way. Find a similar path and walk in the path that they walked in. And walk that path that your fathers walked. That your fathers walked. Yahusha, the living Torah, walked in the ways of the fathers. He walked in the way of Abraham. He walked in the way of Abraham. He walked in the way everlasting. He walked in Torah. He came to a people who was steeped in Talmud to turn them back to Torah. To turn them back to Torah. Torah is the way back to Yah. Torah is the way, the truth, and the life. Yahusha is the living Torah. He is the way, the truth, and the life. He came to show by his example how to walk in Torah. He came to turn the hearts of the people who were steeped in tradition, who were steeped in Talmud. He came to turn their wicked hearts back to the way, back to Torah, back to himself. Back to himself. Torah is the way back to Yah, inclusive of the offerings and the mikvah tabalah, which are all in accordance with Torah, all of it. The offering of the body of Hamashiach, the mikvah tabalah, which some call the baptismal, which is really called the mikvah tabalah, the immersion. This is all Torah. Do you understand? It is all Torah. It is Torah. It is Torah. It is the way. It is the truth. It is the life. Torah is the way back to Yah. All of the offerings, including the offering of the Hamashiach and the mikvah tabalah, are in accordance with Torah. It is Torah. It is Torah. Torah is the way. It is the truth. It is the life. No man comes to the Father except through Torah. Except through Torah. Except through Torah. Not by belief alone, but by belief in Torah, and then governing your life and acting in accordance with that which you believe. Acting in accordance with that which you believe. There is an action. There are works required. If you believe it, then you obey it. If you believe the Torah, then you obey the Torah. Torah is the way, is the truth, and the life. Yahusha came in the volume of the book. He came in the volume of Torah to fulfill that which was written about him in the Torah, in the Nabi'im, what the world calls prophets, and the Katubi'im, the writings. He came to fulfill what was written about him in the Tanakh. He came in the volume, in the fullness of the book, in the scroll, and the fullness of the book, because he is the book. Because he is the book. To fulfill what was written about him in the book, in accordance with the book. In accordance with Torah. Torah is the way, is the truth, and the life. And Tahalim, Psalms, the 40th chapter, verse 6 through 8, and we're going to shut this down. Slaughtering and meal offering you did not desire. You have opened my ears. Ascending offering and sin offering you did not ask for. Then I said, see, I have come in the scroll. The Hebrew word here is Megillah. Megillah, which means a scroll, a roll, volume, book, writing, the volume, the whole of the book. The whole of the book. Then he said, see, I have come in the scroll, in the volume, the whole of the book, the Sefer, It is prescribed for me. I have delighted to do your pleasure, O my Elohim, and your Torah is written within my heart. It is written within my heart. So what is the purpose of this video, Zion? What is the purpose of this message? Why did Yah direct his servant to speak on this Yom? Why did he make this video through his servant and speak through his servant on this Yom? A couple of nights ago, Zion, around the 9th hour of the night, Yah breathed into me. Hear me. He breathed into me. I inhaled him. And it woke me up. And it woke me up. He breathed into me. And he breathed a word into me, a dabar into me. And I woke up, and this was ingrained in my nafash. Torah is the way and the truth and the life. Torah is the way and the truth and the life. He was indwelling upon my nafash the importance, Zion, of walking in Torah, of speaking to you on this Yom, of walking in the way and the truth and the life, Torah, which leads us back to him, which guides us back to him, which keeps us in the path of Zedekah, in the path of righteousness for his name's sake. He impressed upon me that, and he wanted me, and he wants to impress that upon you, Zion, on this Yom, for this reason. You see, Zion, in accordance with the Nabah, or Nabuah, spoken through the Nabi Daniel, we're living in a time, we're living in a season where knowledge has increased upon the Eretz, where knowledge has increased. And with this increase in knowledge, people, including Yasharal, are no more concerned about, or actually are more concerned about knowledge. And when I say knowledge, I'm talking about the esoteric. They are more concerned about the esoteric. They are more concerned about what the elite are doing, more concerned about weather warfare and direct energy fires and false flags and fallen ones and Nephilims and chemtrailing and fake Jews and genealogies that do not matter, etc. They are more concerned, Zion, with these things than they are with the truth that leads to life, and that is the Torah. That is the Torah. And so they're spending more time in researching these things, in this knowledge that does not matter, that cannot give high, that cannot give life. They're spending more time in researching these things. And in doing so, they are missing out on the way, Zion. They're missing out on the way. They're missing out on Torah. They're missing out on the Torah. That knowledge cannot bring high. It cannot bring life. What they are doing, it cannot bring life. Knowledge has exploded. Knowledge has increased in this season. But that knowledge, Zion, cannot bring high. Your genealogy cannot bring high. The knowledge of chemtrails, of them poisoning our water and our soil. He has said that those who believe in his name, that poison won't harm us, that we will pick up serpents and that we will drink poison and it won't harm us. So why are we concerning ourselves with that stuff? It's good to know, but we are not to get overly preoccupied with the esoteric. That knowledge cannot save. That knowledge cannot deliver. Only the knowledge of Torah, Only the knowledge of Torah, which is life, which is high. Only this can deliver. Only this can deliver. His word declares that his people perish for lack of knowledge, not for lack of knowledge of the esoteric, not for lack of knowledge of chemtrailing, not for lack of knowledge of direct energy weapons, not for lack of knowledge of weather warfare, not for lack of knowledge of Nephilim, not for lack of knowledge of the fallen ones, not for lack of knowledge of the elite wanting to reduce the world's population to 500 million and Agenda 21, not for lack of knowledge of the fake Jews, of those who say they are Jews and are not, but for lack of knowledge of Yahuwah, but for lack of knowledge of his Torah. His people perish for lack of knowledge of Torah, for lack of knowledge of him. We do not perish for the lack of knowledge of other things. We perish for lack of knowledge of Torah, which is the way, the truth, and the life. Knowledge of those things, again, cannot save our lives. Only knowledge of Yahuwah through his Torah can deliver us. Can deliver us. Again, the very offering of Yahusha is Torah. The very mikvah tabelah in his name, the immersion, is Torah. It is Torah. Torah is the way, the truth, and the life. This is the only thing that can deliver us. Torah is Yah. Torah is Yah. Shaul gives us warning long ago to not, he gives us a warning long ago, Zion, long ago. And do not for 1 minute think that there is anything new under the sun. Shaul was a very learned, he was a very learned man, and he knew many things. He knew deep things. He knew deep things. And he was aware. Do not think that he was not aware of the esoteric. Do not think for 1 minute that he was not aware of the esoteric and the plans of the wicked. Yet it was not his concern. Torah was his concern, as only Torah preserves life. In his warning to Timotheus, in Timotheus Bait, or 2 Timothy, the 4th chapter, verse 1 through 8, he gives warning to Timotheus, and he says here, in the sight of YAHUAH'S and the Master Yahusha, Messiah, who shall judge the living and the dead at the appearing and his reign, I earnestly charge you, listen, proclaim the word. Proclaim Torah. Proclaim Torah. He's not talking about a Brith Kadashah here. If you're a Christian still listening and you haven't shut this video off, he's not talking about a Brith Kadashah. He's talking about the word. This letter did not exist when he wrote this letter. It had not been published in the 66. It had not been published in what you call a Biblos in the 66 books. It had not been published. He was talking about Torah as scripture has established. He was talking about Torah. He gives him warning. He says, proclaim the word. Proclaim Torah. Proclaim Torah. Proclaim Torah. Be urgent in season and out of season. Convict, warn, appeal with all patience and teaching. Listen, for there shall be a time when they shall not bear sound teaching, when they shall not bear the Torah. They're more interested in other esoteric stuff. They're more interested in fables and Christianity and other pagan religions. When they won't endure sound doctrine or sound teaching, they will no longer endure the Torah. For there shall be a time when they shall not hear sound teaching, but according to their own desires they shall heap up for themselves teachers, tickling the ear, and they shall indeed turn their ears away from the truth. It has already been established. What is the truth? Torah is the truth. The word is the truth. Torah is the truth. And they shall turn their ears away from the truth and be turned aside to myths. But you be sober in all matters, suffer hardships, do the work of an evangelist, accomplish your service completely. For I am completely being poured out, and the time of my departure has arrived. I have fought the good fight. I have finished the race. I have guarded the belief. I have guarded the amunah. The belief is the belief in the Torah, and then governing your life or acting in accordance with your belief. It is not some mystic thing where you just believe in something and that is enough. The belief here is the way. The belief here is having a belief in Torah and then governing or establishing your steps in accordance with that which you believe. I have guarded the belief. For the rest, there is laid up for me the crown of righteousness, which the master, the righteous judge, shall give to me on that day. And not to be only, but also to all those loving his appearing. So he gives warning to Timotheus, warning to his son, proclaim the word, proclaim the word, proclaim Torah Zion. Don't worry about all this esoteric stuff, genealogies and the fallen ones and Nephilims and chemtrailing and poisoning of water and direct energy fires, direct energy weapons and scatterbots and man-created weather warfare. Sure, this stuff is relevant. Warn people, but don't spend the majority of your time in it, Zion, because there is no life in it. It cannot save your life. Only Torah can save your life. And we have been proclaimed. We have there has been a barakah spoken over us before the foundation of the Eretz and the Shamayim. We have been born for such a time as this. We have been scattered amongst the nations to be living Torahs, to be living lights. We have been scattered amongst the nations to be a royal kihuna, to be kohen to the nations, to show them what it looks like and what it means to be set apart to the Most High Yah. We have been placed here to teach them, the Basora. We have been placed here to teach them Torah. We have not been placed here to teach them the esoteric, because only Torah can save their lives. Only Torah can save their lives. Another warning in Kafah Bet of 2 Peter, the 2nd chapter. I'm going to read it in its entirety. It reads, "But there also came to be false Nabaim among the people, as also among you there shall be false teachers, and shall secretly bring in destructive heresies, and deny the master who brought them, bringing swift destruction on themselves. And many shall follow their destructive ways, because of whom the way of truth," and the word is already established what the truth is, and this is Torah. The truth is Torah. Listen, another warning, bringing swift destruction on themselves. Many shall follow their destructive ways, because of whom the way of truth, the way of Torah, shall be evil spoken of. How many of you have received that? How many of you have been witnesses to these attacks, that evil is spoken of you because you aspire to obey the Torah of Yah, and so you're spoken of as being evil? Your people accuse you of being in an occult because you are not mainstream, because you don't believe as the world believes, and that you don't walk as the world walks. He warns us here, because of whom the way of truth, the way of Torah, shall be evil spoken of. And in greed, with fabricated words, they shall use you for gain. From of old, their judgment does not linger, and their destruction does not slumber. For if YAHUAH'S did not spare the messengers who sinned, but sent them to Tartarus, and delivered them into chains of darkness to be kept for judgment, and did not spare the world of old, but preserved Nuach, a proclaimer of Zedekah, a proclaimer of righteousness. Remember, Torah was from the very beginning. It was from the very beginning because Yah is Torah. He is Torah. He is light. He is righteousness. Torah is righteousness. If we are careful to obey it, then it will be righteousness for us. In accordance with Dabarim, the 6th chapter, it will be righteousness for us. Not that we are righteous, we are filthy. But when we aspire to obey YAHUAH'S righteous Torah with all of our heart, mind, and strength, then he considers us to be righteous. He considers us to be righteous. So righteousness, it was established in the very beginning because YAHUAH is righteousness. Torah was established in the very beginning because he is Torah. As it read above, look for the old paths. Olam, Olam, the eternal paths, those which were established from the very beginning, those which are hidden. They are hidden because they are so old, they are hidden from our view because they are eternal. Look for those paths that were established in the very beginning. Righteousness was established in the very beginning. YAHUAH has no beginning. He is the Aleph and the Tau, the beginning and the everlasting, the beginning and the covenant, the beginning and the everlasting covenant, the beginning and the mark. He is the Aleph and the Tau. He has no beginning. And so righteousness was from the very beginning. Torah was from the very beginning. Light was from the very beginning. And he has shared that light with us to teach us how to be light, to teach us how to walk in light as he is light, which in turn leads us back to him. So yes, Nuwak was a proclaimer of Torah. He was a proclaimer of Torah. And it reads here, and did not spare the world of old, but preserved Nuwak, a proclaimer of righteousness, a proclaimer of Torah, and 7 others, bringing in the flood on the world of the wicked, and having reduced to ashes the cities of Sodom and Amorah, condemned them to destruction, having made them an example to those who afterward would live wickedly or lawlessly or unrighteously and or without Torah, and rescued righteous Lot who obeyed the Torah, who was taught the Torah by his uncle Abraham, who was circumcised by his uncle. He was circumcised. Lot was circumcised. And actually, Lot was not circumcised by Abraham, but YAHUAH baruch him for Abraham's sake, for Abraham's sake. But it says here, word says what it says, righteous Lot. And he was righteous because it was accounted to him for righteousness because he obeyed the Torah which Abraham had taught him, which Abraham learned from Nuach and Shem. They taught Abraham themselves, and they learned from our fathers. They learned from Methuselah. They learned from Hanok, from Nuach, from Mahalalel, from Lamech, from Canaan, from Lamech, from Sheth, from Adam. They learned Torah from them, from our fathers, which was passed down to firstborn, to firstborn, to firstborn. They learned it from them. But Lot learned it from Abraham. Thus it is said here, and rescued righteous Zedek Lot, who was oppressed with the indecent behavior of who? Of the lawless, of those who are without Torah, of the wicked, of the unrighteous, of those who disobeyed Torah. For day after day, that Zedek man, that righteous man, that man who obeyed Torah, dwelling among them, tortured his righteous being by seeing and hearing their lawless works without Torah. Then YAHUAH knows how to rescue the reverent ones from trial, to keep the unrighteous, the lawless, the without Torah, until the day of judgment, to be perished, to be punished. And most of all, those walking after the flesh in filthy lust and despising authority, bold, headstrong, speaking evil of esteemed ones, Whereas messengers who are greater in strength and power do not bring a slanderous accusation against them before the master. But these, like natural, unreasoning beasts, have been born to be caught and destroyed, blaspheme that which they do not know, shall be destroyed in their destruction, being about to receive the wages of unrighteousness, deeming indulgence in the day of pleasure, spots and blemishes, reveling in their own deceptions while they feast with you. While they feast with you. Let me stop right there and just expound on something for a minute. In the Christian church, there is this pride. There is a strong, and Yahuwah revealed it to me. There is a strong Leviathan rock that governs the Christian Circe. There's a strong Isabel rock that governs the Christian Circe. There is witchcraft and pride that governs the Christian Circe, such that in a lot of them, they believe that they can call out principalities and war against principalities. We don't have the ability, we don't have the authority to war against a principality. This is for Yah to do. This is for our older brothers, our big brothers, his Kodesh Malachim, to war on behalf of us. That is for them to do. We are not to call out principality. That is pride. You are dirt. You are dust. You are insignificant, yet significant. Who are you to think that you can call down a principality? You don't have that authority. Yahusha has given us a part authority over serpents and scorpions, over demons, over the offspring of the fallen ones, not over fallen ones. But it reads here, these people in their ignorance speak condemnation or speak against messengers, speak against fallen ones to their own destruction, which they don't understand. There was a story that I once heard that they were doing this in one of these Circes, and all of a sudden people started losing babies, and people started getting sick and dying, and they couldn't figure out what was going on. And finally, they figured it out that there was a curse pronounced on them because they in there ignorantly calling out principalities. They had no authority to do so. They had no authority to do so. He has given us authority over serpents and scorpions, not of principalities. That is YAHUAH'S concern. That is our older brother. That is our older Kodesh brothers' concern. The messengers, the Malachim, that is their concern, not ours. Nevertheless, I needed to make that point. But these, like natural unreasoning beasts, have been born to be caught and destroyed, blaspheme that which they do not know, shall be destroyed in their destruction, being about to receive the wages of unrighteousness, deeming indulgence in the day of pleasure, spots and blemishes, reveling in their own deceptions while they feast with you, having eyes filled with an adulteress, and unable to cease from their sin, unable to cease from their sins because they lack the Ruach HaKodesh. They deny the power, the very power that could set them free. The Ruach HaKodesh who writes the Torah of Yahuwah upon our hearts. The Ruach HaKodesh who is Torah. The Ruach HaKodesh who is Yahuwah. They deny the very power that could set them free. They don't know his name. They call him the Spirit of Holly, and they call the Father God. They don't know his name. They're calling upon a false deity. They're calling upon the Spirit of Holly. Thus, they cannot cease from their sins because it is the Ruach HaKodesh who gives us the power to fight against sin. It is the Ruach HaKodesh who writes his Torah upon our hearts. Transgression of Torah is sin. Transgression of Torah is sin. Torah defines what sin is. They have no inclination of what sin is. They have no clue of what sin is because they reject the Torah. And because they reject the Torah, they have no clue of what sin is. Thus, they have no power not to sin. They have no power to stop sinning because a spirit of Holly is in them, and not the Ruach HaKodesh who writes the Torah of Yahuwah upon our hearts. and teaches us to clean, to make a distinction between the clean and the unclean, and shows us the path of Zedekah for his name's sake. They have not the Ruach HaKodesh, thus they cannot keep from sinning. They cannot cease from sinning. Having a heart, let's go back and read that. Having eyes filled with an adulteress and unable to cease from sin, enticing unstable things, having a heart trained in greed, children of a curse, having left the right way. We have established what the way is. Torah. Torah. The way is Torah. Having left the right way, they went astray. Having followed the way of Balaam. So they left the right way, Torah, and having followed the way of Balaam, the son of Beor. They followed lawlessness. Who loved the wages of unrighteousness, of lawlessness without Torah. But he was rebuked for his transgression. A dumb donkey speaking with the voice of a man restrained the madness of the Nabi. Well, he's a prophet. He's not a Nabi. There are fountains. These are fountains without water. Clouds driven by a storm, to whom the blackest darkness is kept forever. Oh, yeah. This is what is reserved for the lawless. This is what is reserved for the lawless, those who are without Torah. These are fountains without water, clouds driven by a storm, to whom the blackest darkness is kept forever. For speaking arrogant nonsense, they entice through the lust of the flesh, through indecencies, the one who have indeed escaped from those loving in delusion, promising them freedom, through themselves being slaves of corruption. For one is a slave to whatever overcomes him. For if after they have escaped the defilements of the world through the knowledge of the Master and Savior, Yahushua Mashiach, and then again entangled in them and overcome, the latter end is worse for them than the first. For it would have been better for them not to have known the way of righteousness, which is Torah. Righteousness is Torah. Righteousness, if we are careful to obey the Torah, it would be counted as it will be righteousness for us. The way of righteousness is Torah. Yahusha is Torah, the living Torah. He is the way, the truth, and the life. For it would have been better for them not to have known the way of righteousness than having known it to turn from the set-apart command. And we'll talk about the set-apart command below. Then having known it to turn from the set-apart command delivered unto them. For them the proverb has proved true. A dog, a pagan, returns to his own vomit, and a washed sow, pig, a pagan, returns to her while rolling in the mud. To her rolling in the mud. Be warned, Zion. Be warned. Do not be overly concerned with what the wicked are doing, lest you go back and become as a dog to his own vomit and a pig to his mud. Be careful, Zion, that you're not spending more time in this knowledge that cannot save than you are in the knowledge that can save. The Torah of Yahuwah, the way of righteousness. The way of righteousness. So what is the set-apart command? And we're about to shut this down. In Deuteronomy, the 5th chapter, verse 30 through 33, it reads, Go say to them, return to your tents, but you stand here by me and let me speak to you all the commands. This is Yahuwah speaking to Musha. And the laws and the right rulings which you are to teach them. And they shall do them in the land which I am giving them to possess. And you shall guard to do as Yahuwah your Elohim has commanded you. Do not turn aside to the right or to the left. This may be Musha speaking to Yahusha, who is commonly called Joshua. And you shall guard to do as Yahuwah your Elohim has commanded you. Do not turn aside to the right or to the left. Do not turn aside to the right or to the left. Walk in the ways which Yahuwah, your Elohim, has commanded you, so that you live, and it be well with you, and you shall prolong your days in the land which you possess. The set apart command is to guard Torah. It's to guard the commands of Yahuwah and turn neither to the right or to the left from the command, the set apart command of obeying and guarding Torah. Dabarim, the 17th chapter, the 20th verse, it reads, so that his heart is not lifted up above his brothers, and so as not to turn aside from the command, right or left, so that he prolongs his days in his reign, he and his children in the midst of Yasharal. To not turn aside from the command. The command is to obey all of YAHUAH'S instructions contained within the Torah, so that you live. So that you live. The Torah is the word of life. It is the word of life. Therefore, put away all filthiness and overflow of evil, and receive with meekness the implanted word, which is able to save your lives. Jacob, the 1st chapter, the 21st verse. Jacob, the 1st chapter, the 21st verse. Only Torah can save our lives. It is the way, it is the truth, it is the life. All of this other knowledge that is made available to us in this season can become a distraction that leads to our destruction, Zion. It can become a distraction that leads to our destruction. Focused on the one truth that matters, on the only truth that matters, Zion. There are deep things in the Torah that are yet to be revealed to us. Don't get so caught up in worldly knowledge, Zion, that you miss out on the only knowledge that can deliver, and that is the knowledge of Yah, and that is the knowledge of Torah. Don't get so caught up in the distraction of this esoteric knowledge so that you're puffed up to show people, hey, look, see what I think I know. Don't get so caught up in that knowledge, what cannot save, what cannot deliver, that you neglect the only knowledge that can save, that can deliver, the Torah of the Most High Yah. Don't get so caught up that you neglect your very being, that you neglect your very soul, that you neglect your very soul. My prayer, Zion, that even now that you have received this warning from our Elohim, that it has cut you as a two-edged sword, that it is cut to the very meat of your heart, to the very meat of your nefesh. And I pray that even now on this Yom, that Yahuwah begins to set apart these heckles, that he begins to scrub these heckles, that he begins to set us apart to him in the Ruach and in truth, and righteousness and in truth. I pray that even now that he prepares us to walk in the purpose, the very purpose that he has spoken over us before the foundation of the Shamayim and the Arets, that he has spoken over us to be carried out in this Moed season. And that is to be fruit-bearing trees during a time of famine, and water-producing rocks during a time of drought, and light-producing lamps during a time of darkness. I pray that he scrubs these heckles and prepares us to receive YAHUAH'S, such that through us, Zion, he would turn the wicked hearts. He would turn the hearts of the fathers back to the children, and the hearts of the children back to the fathers, lest he come with destruction. I pray that he turns the wicked hearts of the children back to the ancient paths of the fathers, back to the good way, back to Torah. And I pray that even now He sets us apart for this task. That he sets us apart for this task. There's only one truth that matters, Zion. There's only one way. There's only one truth. There's only one life. And that is Torah, the living Torah, the living word. There is only one way, Zion. Only one way. Yahuwah barak you and guard you. Yahuwah make his face shine upon you and show favor to you. Yahuwah lift up his face upon you and give you shalom. Thus you shall put my banim, thus you shall put my name upon the banim of Yasha'al, and I myself shall barak them. Amen.